Hello, hello, most esteemed viewers. My name is Jekyllstein Gray, and welcome to the first episode of Jekyllstein Gray Plays Unrest. And also, probably the first. I have this on not full screen because of weird OBS quirks. You know how it is. Um, Also, the first episode of season 3 of Homework Communism, where I record the stuff I play for, my tutorials, and I share it with the people. I redistribute the homework, I guess. Yay! So today we're looking at Unrest. This season of Homework Communism is probably going to be shorter and more sparse. I'm probably not going to do another Unrest video until, the end of October, probably, but, I really wanted to show this to my professor, was really interested in this game, and I wanted to do a video about it. And I actually was originally not planning on I was originally not planning on doing this video, but I was just gonna send her a video I recorded and unlisted, or at least I thought I recorded it, but I didn't. So yeah, just gonna do one of these. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna go with myth. I do love that naming convention, myth and mortal, because they're both, they're non-judgmental, and they're also they're non-judgmental, and they're also really descriptive, and they feel not thematically appropriate, but tonally, they fit the mythic theme of this. Anyway, so we are going to be it's been a while. It's been almost a year since I last played this game. I'm restarting it, obviously. I think we're gonna get to the arranged marriage bit. Maybe. I don't know how long it'll take. I'm interested to see. Also, sorry, there's always a lot I want to talk about, right after that, before I actually analyze the game at the start. Basically, the last thing is, I'm a big fan of spoiler warning, and one of the cast members of that is the writer of this game. I'm not my relationship with him is purely parasocial. He doesn't even know I exist, I'm pretty sure. But that's probably just something to be aware of as I review this. So anyway, I don't think I'm gonna read the whole, all the text, but I think I'll read this one. You are Asha, sole heir to the throne of Bimra. I'm just gonna, out of the just blanket apology for my pronunciation of these words, esteemed viewers. Mira, a city built by your ancestors, has stood for almost 2 centuries. At its prime, Bimra was a sight to behold, a prosperous center of trade and an example to other kingdoms. However, those days are long gone. It has been many months since rainfall, and the earth is dry as bone. There is not enough food to go around, and the underclasses are starting to get desperate. Uh-oh. And soon the rich are starting to realize that they actually really need the underclasses, but the underclasses don't really need them. Anyway, today Esha's parents hope to reverse Bimra's troubles. They are poised to make the decision that will redeem them in the public eye or condemn them. So this game is, very, you can tell this was made on a budget. If I remember right, the Kickstarter got $30,000 out of a $3,000 goal, about something along those lines. Also, it's very, it does a lot with that budget, and it feels a lot like Planescape Torment to me, which is one, I really need to finish my series on that. That series is never going to be done. But 2, I'm also I really like Planescape Torment, so that's definitely a compliment coming from me. Let's see. So we're gonna be brave, surly, or rebellious. I'm gonna go with rebellious. It's not your fault people are upset at your parents, and it's not your parents' fault either. They can't control the drought or the famines. They can't give homes to everyone in the slums. Why not? They're doing everything they can. We're gonna go with critical, but other people didn't even like the treaty. Isn't that just going to make them more angry? For now, but your parents aren't signing this treaty lightly. They know it will make our fortunes better in the long term, and when things get better, people will remember why. Then they'll know to give your parents the credit they deserve for all their hard work and dedication. There's a reason your father's bloodline and your mother's have been rulers for so long. They were born to do so, just as you are. No, that's not how this works. I don't really know why the slums don't like the treaty. Who can say? But I reviewed the fact that your parents and I agree that the Naga Empire's trade network will be the best thing that ever happened to Bimra. I can want to say like Bimira. It's there's more consonants than vowels in this than I expect. Even Vijay agrees, and he's been advising against the whole venture for months. You and your parents will make things better, Aisha. It's your blood right. Now you've responsibilities to face. Alright, so let's go talk to someone else. Also, let's check the map. I'm here, and we got the character traits. Never left the palace. Jesus. Vijay, so Vijay is the advisor. Avinash is the uncle. The queen, interesting. Mother's been through much she doesn't speak of. Wasn't born in Bimra, but it is her home nonetheless. Last in line of kings. Affairs of state are always entertaining. Shut up. Shut up, narrator. Let's see. So, this is interesting because I do know what's going to happen here in a second. You know, there's a reason this game is called Unrest. Also, there's like a lot of different protagonists, which I like. You know, you see things from different classes and perspectives and all that. Let's see. Has made the decision people don't like it. We do care about them, and as long as they know that, they'll still be easier to swallow. I mean, regardless of whether or not you actually, like, even if your intentions are good, you're making decisions for, at least several thousand people, who you don't know, you're making decisions for people you've never met, Anyway, can we just run them off with guards? I think this treaty is a bad idea. It's a complicated question. I do think the treaty is a good idea. I think it can help Bimra a lot, but I'm also afraid we're not going to use the treaty as well as we could. I think that's part of why people don't like it. And they're afraid of the Naga, and that's another part. I wish your parents would take the people's reaction to heart. No straight from the guards. One thing I will say is, the Naga are giant snake people, and I'm just having flashbacks to when I played Pillars of Eternity, and I'm an arachnophobe, and I was always trying to negotiate my way through things, which made it really hard when I was talking to good spiders. And I was like, don't kill the good spiders. I want to kill them. I want to just get this over with. But no, I must be a good person. Anyway. Let's see. I try to. I really do. Sometimes I'm not sure how to explain something to someone so young, and sometimes I'm afraid of disrespecting. Well, honestly, wait, isn't Vijay his uncle, though? Her uncle? Their uncle? I think her uncle. Anyway. But I promise you this, if you keep your eyes open and you watch things very carefully, you will learn lessons today that you will never forget. Alright, let's go sign a treaty. Woo! Signing treaty sim. When did this game come out? Hey, the nice thing about not being in full screen is I can just do this. Store page. So, I don't know if this is good Let's Play etiquette, but I'm doing it anyway. 2014. Treaty Signing Simulator 2014. You are Chitra, Chief Ambassador. Oh yeah, so we switch over to this dude. Let's see. You are Chitra, Chief Ambassador to the Naga Empire, 56. Bimra has swallowed its long-standing animosity towards your empire because its fortunes are dire. Failure of the monsoon has left Bimra's harvest weak and its people desperate. As a peace offering, they took refugees from the empire colonies into their own city's slums. And now they offer trade, goods for food. The Naga Empire can use such a trade and the opportunity to send over more immigrants from its own overpopulated professional classes. How do you get over, actually, this isn't, I feel like my tone was very rhetorical and sarcastic, but I'm really curious, how does a society get an overpopulated professional class? Interesting. They sent you to hammer out the terms, the last job before you retire. But from the riots when you arrived, it seems not everyone is in favor of the deal. Maria and Naga. I do love just that little detail of like them, having and speaking in a different language is nice. And Naga, I feel like I'm going to be sick. Where are their leaders? They were supposed to be here already. Nothing is simple in politics. Just keep your head straight. You'll see this tactic all the time, pretending to control the situation. Rhea, switch to their language. Don't make them paranoid. Don't make them paranoid. I do love that Rhea is like protesting and like being antagonistic. Well, also clearly having switched to the language, I think, unless it doesn't always say. Don't make them paranoid. We've been surrounded by guards this whole time. We walked by angry mobs on our way in. And now we're in a courtyard full of armed humans and the people we're here to talk with. To save them food shortages and rioting slum dwellers are nowhere to be seen. I think this is interesting because normally, like, on a surface level, this has a kind of xenophobic, parallel to... it feels kind of like immigration's debates, in the modern day, any depth you go into, there's a lot of differences. You're like, okay, they are not, for one, this isn't, a bunch of people fleeing over a border, over a line we drew on a map and then getting arrested. And I don't want to get too much on my anarchist bent here. But you also have a, this isn't like, they're not just mistrustful of the Naga because, different and outsider, that's part of it, but like, these are long time allies and enemies, and one of them suddenly needs help, imagine if during the Cold War, the Soviet Union felt like they needed to ask for help, during the Chernobyl crisis, or if America asked for help during 3 Mile Island, or something like that. Anyway, I should probably keep going on the game. Let's see. Okay, so Rhea has not switched languages. That's good to know. In their language, interesting. Like the narration isn't in whatever Bimran or whatever. It's in their language, so that even the narration is skewed by the character's worldview. Let's see. So what do you think, Ambassador? Should we go around the room and talk to people? Agree with you when the royals arrive. So now we're gonna go and let's talk to Dinesh. I got a good look at the way the slums are situated on my way in. Technically, they don't occupy any of what's considered Bimra's traditional footing. I'm just gonna look at OBS and make sure that it's full screen. It's full screen on OBS, but not on my screen. Anyway, I got a good look at the way the slums are situated on my way in. Technically, they don't occupy any of what's considered Bimra's traditional footing. There's no real right or wrong answer, but I think it could be argued that they aren't subject to Bimra's laws. That's interesting because, I'm living in a world right now of very clear, rules, and, there's not very many gray areas in terms of, what ruler you are subject to the whims of. Let's see. An unregulated slum on the outskirts of a weakened city. That sounds dangerous. Satisfactory. We've got refugees here. They deserve some protection. It's a reasonable stance to take, but I imagine if there weren't significant logistical troubles enforcing peace out there, they'd already be doing it. People here seem rightfully scared of the slums. I'd be interested to see what plans the humans have for them. Pranav. Oh, I won't take up much of your time. I just wanted to say how much I was looking forward to this arrangement. Some of the fruits my family has traditionally used to brew sura have become very hard to get hold of, but our product is liked so well that the rabbles offered us first pick. The nobles, the maps was over. The word nobles offered us first pick of the shipments. She could give us some sample and never tried sura. I thought there were food shortages in your city. Is that a prudent allocation? Excuse me. I'm gonna do it open. Of course you can, and I think you'll like it. The brew we sell is named Gray Serpent. Fitting, eh? I can't say. Maybe we can give you some loudmouthed monkey palm wine in return. I love the idea of saying this, but it feels like a seasoned diplomat should probably go with that. Anyway, I'll make sure you and the others all leave with some for the road. Good for aches, pains, or just a quiet evening. Thanks for saving the family trade. You're welcome, even though that was probably not my character's intent. So is this the king? I've heard you and your cohort socializing. Naga. Oh, interesting. Okay. So there's you've got subcategories. You got tolerant, which is under friendship. Critical, which is under respect, and intimidated, which is under fear. And it seems like it changes from conversation to conversation, which is interesting. It's possible for a human to learn it. I'm sure you'll all be speaking Naga soon enough. Let's see. Well, I hope you don't mind keeping to our tongue as long as you're inside our city. It'd be a great courtesy to those of us who haven't had the opportunity to learn. I mean, I'm actually part of me is curious as to whether or not how common are diplomatic incidents in these types of settings. Okay, so we got all this. I'm just gonna do all this so that it doesn't sorry, I'm just noticing this. So I always want to get rid of the exclamation points on the bottom of the screen and whatnot. Naga Empire desires a reasonable weight of Bimra's precious metals, local seedlings, and exotic hardwares in exchange for such foodstuffs as can be transmitted intact between our empires. For our swollen professional class, consisting of merchants, craftsmen, and artists, to be permitted to emigrate and form new communities within Bimra. Gold coins, wealth, jewelry. Humans are soft targets and can be easily disabled. I'm sure there's a typo with claw strikes. Tropical fruits, map of the known world. Seal of the Naga Empire for the treaty. Madhu. Hello, I'm Madhu. Adel and I rode from our home out by our lands just to meet you in person and for a few days escape. Was your journey pleasant? It was reasonably comfortable, thank you. Oh, yes, I always appreciated chance to travel to places without a thick canopy. I do friendly stuff. My mother and father visited the Naga territories once on a diplomatic journey. They said your homeland was lovely and so abundant with resources. Love it. That's it was nice, but what was really good was the resources. Makes you wonder why you need an empire at all. It's not my job. I broker trade alliances. You should talk to us if you ever want a place to stay while you're on business. Our estate is very comfortable, and we would be pleased to do anything we could to facilitate trade and good relations. So it's long past time we reached out to you, don't you think? Require a lot of work, frankly. That isn't us. That's not Bimra. That's the slums. horrible about the whole thing. They're not happy about any of it. I'm sure Kaneko will tell you about all that. But, so, right, except the people on the slums have the most, like, this is kind of life or death. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get to that later. I hope all goes well with this treaty. This could be the worst year of Bimbra's history, into the finest era it's had in a long time. Yeah, the name of the yeah, that's why the name of this game is prospering. It's prosperous. It's stable. It's state stability. Man, this is their movement speed is really slow. So there, I remember like looking at the keyboard stuff. I think before the I'm just gonna I'm sure you know how I feel about that, Steam viewers. Lakshmi. Let's see. Okay. Talk to her husband first, because reasons, I guess. Greetings. Name's Yogesh. I own the farmlands you people passed on your way in. Hope nobody gave you any trouble. Usually when my people see a big snake, they go at it with a spade. Let's see. I'm just gonna go with it. When we see a talking monkey, we usually put the jug down. Say, how much do you need to drink to feel it anyway? I knew a man half your size needed to drink a basin of wine just to get his head fuzzy. If you want to find out, I'd be happy to indulge. Remind me to bring you over to my estate one of these days. Anything we want will be yours. Times are hard, but never too hard to make new friends, right? Peasants will hate it, but they've never even spoken to a Naga before. What do they know? I mean, maybe they haven't spoken to a Naga before because the only time you people reach out to them is when you're worried that the peasants are going to revolt. Take you up on that. Of course, my wife might not like it either. She always gets tetchy when I invite somebody over without asking her. So I try to ask people over whenever I get the chance. But like, okay, she's probably angry because she's relegated to a domestic sphere. Like that's supposed to be her thing. And then you're like, that's like the one place she has any control, and you're just bowling over her control. I am a woman. Jesus Christ, I fucking hate that kid. You don't have a classless structure. It might be casteless, but from what I've heard, an empire kind of cannot be classless. Huh. Why did tolerant and critical go down so much? Oh, these are... Okay, so these are... Okay, so these are like levels of fear. So I'm now unconcerned because I have less fear. Looks like. That makes sense. Sufficiently in command of myself that I need an unburden on a stranger, thank you. Do not judge or pity me, my life is my own. See, then we may converse now. Different people, you and I. The Naga Empire and Bimra are naturally at odds with one another. Understanding will not help us. Will not help that. I mean, yeah, the institutions are at odds with each other, but that doesn't mean the people are, like, fundamentally incompatible or whatever. Jesus Christ. Fuck you, Yogesh. I'm just gonna take any chance I get to just shit on that guy. Fuck him. Oh crap. I just accidentally clicked, I alt-tabbed or whatever. Went a bit too far off screen. How long have I been going for? 20 minutes. That's yeah. I'm probably gonna get to like the inciting incident for today, and then call it. One of the reasons I kind of wanted this to be a shorter one. One of them is because I want to. Is there's other things I have to do and want to do for the day. Is there any eyes flipped to your jaws? So does that mean he's like worried you're gonna eat him or something? Anyway, so. Okay, so I do like that gaining of traits earlier, or over time. But I also want to send this to my professor and see what she thinks about all of this. Because she's Indian and yeah, so. How long have you been in the city? As long as you know to give the slums a wide berth, there are many fine things to see here. Yeah, if you just ignore all the stuff we don't want you to see, this is practically a utopia. Walk might be in order after the treaty's signed. Yes. Oh, don't walk. Haven't got the legs for it. In all seriousness, I'd be pleased to give you the tour. Don't worry about the slums. They have an excellent armed guard. Don't trust the city plotters. Never seen anything outside of a drill. Seems like an unusually direct thing to say to an ambassador. Why not be frank about things? I have great respect for the Naga Empire. I want them to respect us. I know you wouldn't have come out here if you were blind to our empire's weaknesses. Why not get that point out in the open and move on to more pressing matters? It's matters concerning your city or your own interests? The city's interests are my interests. Press X to doubt, motherfucker. The reverse is true as well. Just remember, whatever we grant you today, Bimro will always have more to offer. Good luck in there. My phone just lit up with a notification, but I'm not going to check it right now. Because I have, contrary to all evidence, I do have some, sense of self-respect for my craft. If you can call this a craft. Just to be clear, I'm not saying like Let's Plays are not, or don't count as a craft because I, obviously don't agree with that. But I just think, I don't know, I've just got self-respect issues and I wouldn't call what I'm doing a craft. Let's see. Now I keep thinking of the spoiler warning series on Princess Maker 2 where they mention how Unrest had is the only thing. Well, again, this is Rutskarn. One of the things the writer said, it's like Unrest is one of the only games that had a non-hentai naga. So they're in the we already talked to Dinesh. Yeah, we already talked to Dinesh. I think it's so small, like a beautiful toy. I think the Nagas are really interesting, and I really would like to see more of them. Can I go out here? There's gotta be like some way of like increasing the movement speed that I'm missing, because these guys move really slowly. Let's see. I've also been rewatching a spoiler warning series on Hitman Absolution, and I'm like, I'm trying not to think about the implications of what Rutskarn got paid for this, as opposed to, what the writers of that game got paid for it. Let's see. So then they're in the gardens. This looks like a garden. Can't remember where to go. Yeah, it's been almost a year. So why was there a exclamation mark there? I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not obviously not gonna judge this game on the on its aesthetics too much, because it's again like did not have a super large budget or whatever. I will say it's like this why is Dinesh marked? Oh, the king and queen are over here. Okay. Anyway, so one thing I will say, this music is like it's like it's really short, I think is what bothers me about it. It's like and it doesn't like fit the mood for me really very well. I don't know. Going in the right direction seems like it. Yeah, so I forgot how much of this game there was before we got to, the arranged marriage stuff that I am very much looking forward to talking about. I do like those burbs. Those are cool burbs. Alright, is it gonna... There we go. Alright, Kanika. Why does that name sound familiar? Oh, because it was on the map. That's why. The priestess. More comfortable with face-to-face talks and formal political meetings. I love that we got two polite options in Stern. There were angry mobs when you entered. There's a young priest in the temple district, a man named Ronvir. That name... I don't remember what exactly he does, but that name, like, just... I heard that name and I was like, ah! So I feel like there's some subconscious memory going on there. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Oh, no, yeah. Apparently, immediately starts reading the next line. No, I was right. Apparently, he's been claiming that the Naga refugees in our slums are responsible for Bimbra's continued misfortunes. As though he causes your heart just by being here. He's the lunatic and will bring him to heal. Right Most already have because they stand to profit. Well, right, like it's funny how bigotries seem to fade away when it suits the bigots. I mean, like, heck, look at all the I don't want to say the words because they're dumb and wrong, and also and also probably would get this video demonetized or banned or whatever, but like, look at how many things the Nazis took from people who they thought were worse than them. Anyway, we are taking steps. We've hired a mercenary captain and his company to provide a permanent defensive perimeter around the slums and prevent anyone from crossing over into the city proper, where I see guard signaling. You can go and start the negotiations now. Oakley dokley. The king and the queen. Not at all, great king. Give a grand bow. I think I'm just gonna go with polite. Right, since we're already running late, we'll just have to skip the fun parts. No introduction, chatting, food tasting, any of the stuff that makes you want to get up in the morning and actually sign one of these things. It is the best part, yes. Right you are. Now, where would you like to begin? Leave the much up to you. You're pleased to know that most of what you offered we're preparing to accept outright. We're not going to haggle over the trade routes and schedules you prepared. Our only concern regards your immigrants. 100 merchants, craftsmen, and skilled laborers over the next month. What seems to be the problem? We understand the needs of the Naga Empire. Bimra's slums are a constant reminder of how poor environments can jeopardize honest tradesmen. Yeah, you could just, yeah, sure, okay, you got two options. You could get rid of the poor environments, change the environments, or you could just hire more people to attack the people in those environments for the tradesmen. That's the first problem there. We can't guarantee your skilled workers will find employment in the city, not when so many of our own have been rendered destitute. Let's see. Trade will make your city and our merchants here rich. The economy will be restored. The balance of time perhaps, but taken all at once, they'll do more harm than good. We'll take some of them now and the rest later. We'll take half now, the rest will come later. We had not been to talk to you. We had been to talk to you about the unfortunate anti-Naga sentiment in some parts of the city. We really do not believe it constitutes a threat. After all, Naga refugees remaining in our slums will live free of harm for months. How are you addressing the situation? We aren't sure exactly what the roots of the discontent are. Ignorance, I suppose. Unjustified fear of Naga. We know that, or maybe there's a lot of legitimate concerns that are getting harnessed and redirected against what's actually the problem here. Because that tends to be how this stuff works. Just look at the Weimar Republic. And why the Nazis chose the name that they did, despite also killing a lot of socialists. Perhaps Kanaka has already told you about him. A lot of people listen to him. Why, we'll never know. VJ has been speaking with him personally. Oh yeah, it's interesting how this game came out in 2014 because, some brash, scapegoating outsider who's not taken really seriously but by, the elites, but is, harnessing a lot of populist anger and scapegoating, outsiders. Sounds familiar. Then again, this existed long before the 45th president. This problem existed long before the 45th president. It just became much more pronounced by him. Anyway. What has he learned? What has he learned? Ranveer is unusual. He claims that Banka Mundi, whom his temple serves, has sent him so that's apparently a deity, has sent him a vision of how to end the drought and bring prosperity to the slums. It involves many things, but the key point is that we should shun your empire. He was not responsive to most of my attempts at negotiation. What was he responsive to? Nothing that is currently viable. So we will need to deal with him another way. He can't be bought, I promise you. Pulled, bold, and bold. Two followers against him. You would think. I have a few plans for myself. But they will require resources, and we are rather thin on those for reasons which will be explained shortly. Yeah, that totally hasn't been a key thing that's been brought up throughout this whole game so far. One more thing that isn't there. VJ, this was your idea. Do you want to explain it? You may have already heard that much of our profits from this trade exchange will go towards retaining the services of a mercenary company. What the fuck? They'll provide a barrier between the city proper and the slums. With luck, they'll eventually be able to keep peace in the slums. So, again, you're taking all this money and you're giving it to mercenaries who will turn on you the instant they're not getting paid, rather than, actually investing in these communities and making there not be slums, or at least make the slums a bit better. I wouldn't trust mercenaries with so crucial a task. Understand your reservations, particularly because of how this decision affects you. We'll need to clear out areas of the slums to provide housing for them, as well as some of our own city dwellers. Obviously, this means that these mercenaries are in your interests as well as ours. There seems to be a lot of space in this massive palace of yours. Maybe people could stay there? Yeah, just a thought off the top of my head. That would, hurt a lot less people and also probably keep your heads from going on spikes. Let's see. Jesus, I am really editorializing here. We haven't even gotten to the arranged marriage crap yet. And why I actually really like the way arranged marriage is handled in this game. Unlike Brave, I should just do a talk video on Brave. As long past time, a representative of the Naga Empire met with your refugees in the slums. Currently, this is not possible. Therefore, I propose that once our mercenaries arrive, and you, my wife, and myself venture out into the slums under the personal guard of these men. Naturally, you are at liberty to refuse. This sounds unwise. Perhaps refugees could be brought here. It is important not only to meet with them, but see their circumstances for yourself. If we are to maintain an honest relationship, that part seems crucial. Okay, fair point. Pledge your dedication to my trust. Business for today is concluded. If you will give us a moment to confer with our scribes, we will drop the final documents and pledge to do business. Okay, so then I just teleported out of here. Okay, so we got a little bit of fog of war going on here. Inspiration. Going to harm's way for the sake of the Empire. Well, that's not what I was trying to do. So that'll be just polite enough. Sorry, but the king and queen are discussing other important matters. You should return to your apprentice and enjoy the banquet. I wonder what they're discussing. That should be interesting. What else we got? BJ advisor. Hardworking, stressed. Thinks the steal is too risky but overruled. Smart, adaptive, involved. So I guess these are supposed to be gregarious, jokey, forward-thinking. I guess, are these like... what is this character? Are these supposed to be... So this is, I'm guessing this is came from a mountain range in the center of the Naga Empire. The steppe agriculture and hunting culture of your hometown were sufficiently unique that all other places, Naga or otherwise, are equally alien. This is more useful to you as an ambassador than many would suspect. I mean, yeah, you're already used to adapting to foreign cultures. The Naga Empire, the most prosperous and invincible empire in the history of the world. May it reign for 1,000 years. You had equal experience making friends and enemies for it. It reminds you of an animal skeleton in the middle of the field. The infrastructure is something beautiful and alive, all barren and cracked and covered in dust. The way of the cold wind. You and other Naga from your homeland engage in a very self-directed form of worship based on the teachings of an explorer from centuries ago. The central tenets of your philosophy, that of the cold mountain wind, phone just went off again, include helping others, inward meditation, and abstinence from excess. Devout followers are rare. That's usually true of these types of things. Growing up steeped in a faith with many cultural observances has left you unusually open-minded and detached. When a separatist colony got hit by raids and drought, they wound up in Bimra's slums. If this hadn't happened during the month negotiations began, they may have wound up exiled or dead, but it seems that Bimbra's not quite sure what to do with them. You're not really supposed to bring them up either. The angry mobs. They greeted you on the way in. Funny, considering you'd been assured that everyone in Bimbra would profit from trade. At least indirectly. Oh yeah, trickle-down economics. That thing that famously works. The terms of the treaty are as follows. Humans allow the Empire to offload some of their immigrants into Bimbra. The Naga give the humans foodstuffs, and the humans give the Naga everything else. The terms are a little loose, but that's your job. Yeah, your job is hammering out the loose ends and whatnot. This seems like the Naga version of the electric slide. What the hell? Okay. Anyway. That was fun. Now let's get to the actual, the unrest of Unrest. So they were actually a lot closer than I thought at first. I don't know, I think this is one of those games where talking to everybody is, again, to bring up the Planescape Torment comparison, you wouldn't play Planescape Torment and just talk to, Farod and your companions. That game is at its best when you're talking to everyone, getting multiple, finding all these little interesting things, and getting, multiple perspectives on a single subject and whatnot. You're going with them into the slums, are you sure about this? Yes, but it's also a good faith gesture. Peace and prosperity are worth sticking your neck out for. Peace? We just listened to half an hour of people telling us how much they love the Naga. While meanwhile, just beyond the palace walls, there were riots breaking out because we dared to show up. This place isn't even at peace with itself. Wow. Wait, is this? Okay, is this what Rhea thinks of me? What do the bars mean? Let's see. Not other than liking us, not about changing the world, it's about mutually beneficial commerce. Yeah, that sounds like the State Department. It's better than like the CIA. Either live or history remembers me forever. That's a better deal than many of us will get. Brewer needs to prove it can take care of itself. And if it fails that test, well, I suppose the rest will be up to you. That's not what I mean. I can't shake this feeling that nothing we did just matters. I feel like when they tell the story of Bimra and the Naga Empire 100 years from now, they'll spend a breath on what Chitra accomplished at the party before moving on onwards to the great, vast, and terrible inevitability. I'm afraid neither of our peoples are doing anything to prevent it. I know. I'm sorry. Please just gather the retinue together and go home. Rhea seems a bit brash for a. Okay, so this is really important. So I'm gonna finish my thought and then start on this. Rhea seems a bit brash for a diplomat, but also not a bad person, and also not like also sees where the wind blows. The deal was signed later that night. 2 months later, Chitra would venture out with the royal family. The court spy Vijay. I also have a similar reaction to that name, and a contingent of the captain Shyam's mercenaries to serve as bodyguards. Only Vijay and the mercenaries would return. Acting in the chaos, Vijay gathered support from the nobles to form a temporary ruling council with him at the head. Shyam was charged with keeping further riots at bay. Unruly outlying farms would be managed by the recently widowed noblewoman Lakshmi. Well, at least something good came out of all of this. Ranveer would represent the interests of the priests and slums. To appease the Naga Empire, Rhea was appointed Minister of Trade. Months passed, the temporary council failed to dissolve. Okay, President Coin. Whispers of foul play faded, and still the monsoons failed to return. There normally would be achievements I would get for this game, but why do I keep getting a not responding message? There we go. Okay. We will get to this next time. I'll read this out, though. You are Tanya, a peasant, 15 years old. Tanya sometimes catches a word of what's happening in the other villages, and it's never good. Merchants arrive with rumors of open revolt, only to whisper hushed warnings about spies within the populace, watching and waiting for any sign of rebellion. However, Tanya's village has not seen any violence. Lakshmi, the noblewoman in charge of the farmlands, a bit of continuity, has run this village personally ever since the death of her husband. Her soldiers keep one and a half of the peace, and tradition keeps the other. In the midst of this, this doesn't sound like true order. It sounds like you guys need a dose of voluntary order, he said, channeling V. Your soldiers keep one half of the peace, and tradition keeps the other. In the midst of this, Tanya is about to be married. It is not long before her future and that of her village will be decided. Doesn't look like I can save this. Okay, she's smoking something. I actually am kind of curious of what that is. There you are. Why is it you always mope off alone when Dewey's busy with work? Couldn't you find anyone else to amuse yourself with instead of skittering off in some dark hole like a beetle? No wonder you and my mother get along. It's not good for you, you and Dewey. You're both such small families, so you're going to need to have lots of friends to help with little crises once you got your own households. Dark. Why dark? Never been unfriendly to anybody. If they don't like me much, that's their problem. If you say so, nobles, they like things real clean, simple. They like their peasants to do what they're supposed to, when they're supposed to, without any fuss. Because when things are bad, and they have been plenty bad lately, they like knowing that some little thing isn't going to be the fire that burns their fields to the ground. When it comes to keeping us right, they aren't too subtle. You know, your parents wanted to talk to you. They've been looking for you all morning. It's never good news, so I know I would have stayed hidden. Can't hide from bandits forever, can you? Yeah, that's something I've been dealing with. Anyway, got to face things teeth first. Go on, they're waiting for you. I remember liking Radha, and I don't remember enough about her though to know if I would agree with that statement. Okay, so there's going to be a lot to unpack in the next video, and I'm starting to get a bit of I'm also starting to get a bit of what did I call it? I'm starting to forget what the word is. I've said it so many times, I guess. Analysis fatigue. That's it. Yeah, analysis fatigue. Inventory predates the regicide. Interesting. Hey, water tribe money. I hope that's okay, so long as it's money. Okay, so we're gonna save here. Yeah, so I've got it saved from December 2020. Episode 1. I should start calling my saves like after Star Wars titles. I should have called this like Phantom Menace or whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna go to the menu. That'll be all for today, esteemed viewers. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you have something to say, let me know in the comments. I actually think I'm going to be doing another one of these probably more recently. Probably not like in the next day or two or whatever, but sometime soon. I at very least want to get to I can't remember her name. The 15-year-old story. And so yeah. So if you want to be notified when I do more of those, I am very all of a sudden not really articulate or whatever. I don't know. But if you want to see more of those videos when they come out, subscribe, ring the bell. I tend to upload. My upload schedule tends to be, I go through bursts of like a lot of uploads and then bursts of less uploads. So, that'll help you if you want to see every one of my videos when they come out for some reason. Anyway, subscribe, ring the bell, Twitter, Letterboxd, Nexus.gg, links in the description down below. I can't even remember if I said any of this before, but at a certain point I just don't have much. At a certain point, you've been on YouTube before. I don't know. I'm clearly just not, in the headspace to keep doing this. So I'll see you later, esteemed viewers. Goodbye.